Welcome, everybody. We're here today, and I am so fortunate to have one of the finest artists of the century, you know. And when I say that, I tell you no lie. You have the opportunity to check out the gallery and the show and see for yourself. Oh, please do. I'm gonna pass the mic to him now, and he's gonna introduce himself and tell you just how much he loves his craft.
Well, thank you, Sylvia, for such a wonderful introduction. My name is Joseph, and currently I'm having a show at the Salem Gallery. Well, I will be, from October 28th to November 1st. The reception is on Halloween, which should be a little interesting.
Yes.
But you know, like I've said to quite a number of people who obviously can't make it because they either have children or prior commitments, that I will be there
and
for the week.
And with you being doing this show here, everybody in the world can see it. Isn't that great?
This I've never been on TV before, so this is a little wild for me and very unnerving. But it's a different aesthetic. Being an artist, it's my craft, and you know, this is my second show in Chelsea, which is, I guess, politically a really big deal. I've had several shows. My first show was in Soho at Leslie Lohman. It was a group showcasing. Okay. And I came across a woman who liked my work. She came to my apartment, and she liked my flowers. At that time, I was just doing flowers. I used to be a floral designer. It's one of my, it was one of my probably my favorite job.
Okay.
Because, you know, it has to do with nature and beautiful aromas and smells. So, you know, at the time, I, you know, had all these beautiful high-end flowers, so I would paint them. And sure enough, I had this, you know, it became a very large collection. And so that's what I had to show her. I had, you know, some other pieces, but, you know, for that particular show, it was just florals. And, you know, they're not just flowers, obviously. You know, they're flowers, you know, coming from different artists. Georgia O'Keeffe had a certain aesthetic. And there have been plenty of other artists that showcase flowers in their own, you know, unique way. So, you know, I tend to, you know, give some hyper realism to some of them. Some of them are sexual.
Okay.
Because flowers are pretty sexual by nature.
Yes, they are, by nature.
And what I want the viewer to see with my florals, which I think we have some in the background, is the color and the light. For me, it's light is very important. You know, like I want you to gravitate towards the light. And so, you know, it's not just flowers aren't only my passion, and so, you know, I've had a few years to get ready for this show, and of course, you're never ready once they give you a date. You know, I basically have 3 months to do 6 or 9 months worth of work, which also includes marketing. But in the meantime, you know, I'm painting, and then I'm going online, sending invitations via email, sending invitations via mail, sending invitations via Instagram, and probably Facebook now as well. And you know, we're lucky to have these.
Yeah, social media
is pretty wonderful.
It
because
really is.
If you use it properly, hey, you know, it could work for you. And so, but you know, it's hard because what comes with that is rejection, of course. Not everybody's going to like my artwork. But I guess, you know, going to my art, this show is not just going to be flowers. You know, the title is Unreality.
Unreality.
Unreality, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And I say that because we are living in a world of chaos. You know, you turn on, you know, social media, you turn on Facebook, you turn on, you know, the television, and it's really crazy out there. And you know, so many people are subjected to this, and creates such pain. For me, it has. Particularly the past 2 years. You know, since 2016.
In that 2 years, have you felt like you're really struggling, or it just comes creative, it's just a flow? You know, or it's up and down.
In 2016, I had my first show. And a lot of things happened in 2016, as we know. And there was a time where, like, and as you know, it progressed to where we are now, you know, it is chaotic. And not just, you know, not just from a political standpoint, just in general, you know, life is not easy. So for me,
but art really does something to people that really eases and softens the wear and tear of life.
I think we all have to have like some kind of escape, you know, a really good positive escape. And for me, it's art. And so these past, since I had that show, I've been working very hard at creating what's in my mind.
Which
you
is,
know,
wow.
and that's my reality, and my reality is going to be everybody else's reality when they come to the show. They're going to be able to see what's going on in my head, and it's
Right.
not just going to be flowers. It's going to be portraits. I've done some self-portraits of myself.
Okay.
I've done portraits of Greek mythology,
Okay.
including Diana, which I'm hoping to showcase her. She was damaged in a flood in my apartment, but I think she's got character because of that. But there's also fashion is incorporated. You know, I have.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, well, you know, part of my art comes from, you know, my love of fashion from the 90s and the 80s, and the supermodels. Yasmin Ghauri, for
Okay.
me, is probably my favorite.
Okay.
She was amazing on the catwalk, and she just had a different look. I believe she was Indian and German.
Okay.
And so I used her for a character. She's called Mina.
Okay.
And I have to give credit to certain designers that actually, at that time, you know, we had an unreality to look at. You know, we had Gianni Versace, we had, you know, these beautiful, unrealistic shows of these beautiful women and beautiful gowns. And for this particular collection, it was 1995 spring. Yasmin Ghauri had a particular dress that I was just really crazy about.
Okay.
And so I just found it very seductive, and from Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Okay.
you know, I just, you know, came up with this idea called Mina,
Okay.
and I thought she was perfect. In the movie, it was Winona Ryder who played Mina, and I loved her. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies, and Gary Oldman was Dracula, and Anthony Hopkins was in it. So I was able to finally channel my mind and create a vision, and it was not easy. You know, you use like computer
that creative
clips.
mind that says that it
Yeah.
is.
It's, you know, when you don't have the means to
Right.
have a model, to
Right.
have a dress, you know, to create something that's in front of you. I'm working with the computer. I'm taking tidbits of pictures and then hanging them on the wall, so I have like a reference here, and then taking a picture and then working with that on a computer. And of course, the dress that I liked was
Right.
totally transformed. It was black. I wanted it red.
Well, that's
And-
amazing that you couldn't even.
And I got to say, my best critics are my neighbors. You know,
Okay.
they're basically my family. And you know, at the show also, there are erotic pieces.
Okay.
The curator and I, you know, decided, because there will be children at the show,
Okay.
that these would
Well,
probably.
art is something for everybody to
Yeah,
grasp.
but we because of the nature of the work, we're having that not covered up, but it's sectioned off, and it's
Okay.
only upon request.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that too, because my art this time around, like I said, it's not just flowers, it's incorporating nature, of course, with
Right.
florals and flowers, fashion,
Right.
models, mythology,
Right.
and some eroticism. You know, it's
Yeah.
you know, I grew up, you know, with the love of art. My training, I didn't go to college. I had a good high school teacher in my freshman year
Okay.
who basically taught me everything I need to know about drawing.
Okay.
And then I had a partner years ago who showed me how to draw with chalk pastel pencils.
Okay.
Oils I kind of trained myself, but you know, I think for anyone who is an artist
Right.
and wants to create, you don't need to spend like money for expensive classes. You know, we have the Met. That
Yeah.
was my best
Absolutely.
education. And
Okay.
at the show, there is a piece that I did probably in 2002 of Perseus, because Perseus is probably one of my favorite statues in the Met, because it's just so strong.
Strong.
It's very, very, very strong. Andromeda is, of course, beautiful
Yeah.
and strong. And there's so many things that are very powerful there.
Right.
But I suggest to, you know, people that can't afford,
Right.
you know, expensive art classes,
Right.
or maybe can't go to school, you know, have jobs, you know, full-time
Yeah,
jobs.
jobs.
You
and,
know,
you
go
know,
to the Mets.
family members
you
that
know.
are sick that need taken care of.
You
The
know?
art of life is just can be.
It's you have. It's funny. I did jury duty, and I guess the warden, or he you know, was talking about his job, you know, and the responsibilities that we have as jurors for jury duty.
Yeah, for that
And
period of point
so
of time.
afterwards, I went up to him and I was like, "Do you like art?" And he was like, "Sure, I do." And I was like, "Well, I'm having an art show. Would you like to check it out?" And he started laughing. He was like, "Art was my major in in college and look at what I do now. And I'm like, well, you have a great job. You know, it's benefits. I don't have benefits. You know, I don't get paid for painting. I don't get paid for drawing. I don't get paid for sitting on the floor at the mat. But now I have the opportunity to show all of that.
Yeah.
And show my reality. And I say unreality because, you know, my objective is to show intense beauty and how I see beauty through my interpretations of, you know, superheroes or fashion or movies. You know, it's all about.
Well, that was superheroes and that fashion and the movies.
Yeah,
and just lighting that flame for the person that you met in the jury duty. That had to be something really powerful because he really loved art, and for some reason he's been suppressing it all this time. And then you come along and just reestablish that light, you know, the sunshine.
I hope to see him at the show. I gave him an invite, and I gave pretty much everybody I could.
Okay, well, which is great, because
that's
art is something that just turns on the inner person. It just lights you up and just gives you hope. You know what I mean? It's just hope. Flowers, hope when people, you know, pass away or when people are sick. Something about it. It's just the idea of it. Just lift them up.
When my mom passed away, you know, I was right by her, and I knew she was going. She was ready. You know, she was ready. And she looked at me, and you know, I think I was like 38. That year's kind of was a dark time. You know,
Yeah, who are you telling? That's something that we.
Yeah.
But my mother loved flowers. You know,
Yeah.
that's one thing my mother always loved.
Yeah.
But
she looked at me, and she was like, "Make sure you do what you want. You know, do what you want." And
you're her son. She loves you, so that quite naturally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was the one that used, like, you know, like, where did my art begin? I've been like drawing since I was like 2 years old, and I do have memories where, you know, I'd be drawing on the walls, and my father would, of course, be screaming, and then my mother, you know, we lived in Hell's Kitchen. We had the Hell's Kitchen type of attitude.
Okay.
I may not have it now, but you know, just don't put any cocktails in my system.
Right.
Then you'll see it.
Okay.
But you know, she was like, he's expressing himself. You know, da 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 da. You know, a lot of other words in there in between. But and then my father looked, and they realized I was actually creating characters. I think at that time there was a show called there was a show called Solid Gold.
Solid Gold.
And you know, probably viewers that are, you know, in their 30s probably don't know what it is.
Right.
But it was like a dance countdown kind of series where you would see, like Andy Gibb was like co-hosting at one time, but you know, you'd have
the Bee Gees.
Yeah, you'd have the Bee Gees, you had Blondie, you had Donna Summer, you had all these singers, but they had a countdown, the top 10 songs, and there was one particular dancer. Her name was Darcel.
Okay.
And she's actually on an episode of David Letterman where she was dancing. It was kind of cool.
Okay.
But I just loved her because she had like these long braids and just like a really cool dancer. And so I would formulate little characters on the side of the wall. And, you know, in art class, it's pretty simple when you see a model. You know, you draw. It's almost like a stick figure. People was like, I can only do a stick figure, and I'm like, well, that's how you start. You know, so but I actually created the triangle, and then a triangle upside down, and then formulated legs. And I guess what made my mother like really recognize, you know, what I was doing. I did her braids, which was kind of interesting because she had long braids, and I was like doing all these individual things as I was watching TV, and. That's my earliest memory, and probably, you know, my biggest accomplishment for any artist is selling that piece, selling that first piece, and seeing that red dot on a wall. Probably is my greatest achievement. You know, graduating high school at St. Patrick's Cathedral from Xavier. You know, that was pretty intense. My mom was proud. I made her happy. That's all she wanted. Graduate high school. You know, if you want to go to college, it's up to you.
Okay.
And so I discovered the nightlife. I did some modeling work. I was a dancer. I did, you know, and these are things, you know, and experiences that, I want to start, putting into my artwork. At first, it was florals, and then
Okay.
it's evolving to florals and characters.
Right.
We want to put them all together. I don't have enough time to really put down what I want, but this is what I've done, and this is what I want people to see.
Absolutely outstanding.
And the next evolution is already getting planned.
Yes.
I mean, I'm trying to figure, like I said, the show is October 28th to November 1st. I'm trying to see if I can actually create one more piece.
Okay.
And yet do everything, all the marketing now and touch-ups and frames and wiring. It's also, for me, what is really helpful is having art backers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing about beautiful art. When you least expect it, they just come plentiful. Because art is just something that just is contagious. You know what I mean? It just grabs you.
If you have something to say, I think everybody has something to say in some way, shape, or form. I think you know deep in you, you have a gift for something. You just have to pull it out. But in my my experience, I am fortunate enough to have people that are taking care of my frames, and taking care of car service, when I need to transport all these things. It's not easy. It's not just painting, it's just like a whole mess of things.
It's all these things.
And it's expensive,
And you're so creative. I mean, sometimes I know that, it could be molding and this and that. And it's just, to me, it's very similar to like jazz. It could just come from anywhere.
Yeah.
And it just, and I'm sure at a point, it's like art is also like music in your head, because you're in your head. You have to stay focused, so you have to, as you develop it and create it and mold it, it's like you're under the influence, but the influence is from your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, oh my goodness.
And it's even better when you're able to express it.
Yes.
And you keep expressing it. People are going to notice, and people are going to extend their hand out. And the wonderful thing is we have, social media.
Yes.
Social media.
Social media.
It could be.
It's just
it could go
mind-boggling.
either way. It could be used in a negative way, or it could be used in a positive way. And for me, social media is a way of looking at artwork, enjoying other people's artwork, going to their shows, learning about their aesthetic, and what can I learn from them, what they can teach me. I was an art model, and one of the most wonderful things, not now, right? This is like 15 pounds less a couple of years ago, but being able to model for institutions like Leslie Lohman, and the center on 13th Street for the gay men's group. I've been able to see amazing artists and see their aesthetic and see their unique style, and it was quite wonderful. And then being part of the drawing group, it teaches you speed, because you only have like 20 minutes, or you have 10 minutes, or you have 5 minutes to create something from a model. And I'm not all that crazy about it, to tell you the truth.
But it's fascinating.
For me, it's a little intimidating, because they like you to put your artwork up, and I'm like really like, I take my time. When I'm home, it's like I'm in a relaxed state, and I'm taking my time when I create something. I want you to touch it.
Right.
I want you to want to go up to it and touch it. I want you to stare at it, and that's the best feeling I get when my neighbors come in.
Right. No, I could pretty much gather that.
Yeah, they just stare at, like, if nobody's talking, that's a good sign. You know what I mean? And at the same time, they'll be like, lighten this up a little bit, or darken this, and you have to be able to take the critiques.
Yes.
And I think, everyday people are the ones with the best opinions, because they're and children.
Yeah.
Children even better.
They are gonna tell you exactly how they feel.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be no fooling around.
Yes.
They are
the
gonna
best.
tell you just straight up.
They are the best. And where I live in Hamilton Heights, the kids they grow up fast.
Yeah.
Everybody grows up fast at this
Yeah,
point.
but they have to in New York.
And they're very quick with the tongue, but you know, they've been knocking. You know, ever since I've, you know, that this show is coming out. You know, I have people knocking on my door like every day. You know, what are you working on now? Can I see it? And it's a wonderful thing because you know, they're all going to come to a show and you know, anybody can do this. You just have to be persistent.
That's
you know,
it.
And confident and believing yourself and it's all that. I mean, like, art, you know, art is a different career in comparison to like maybe being an actor or a singer, but at the same time, it's just as hard to become successful.
Oh, what?
in it.
It's more craftful.
You know?
Because, like, for an example, where your show may run a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a gallery for a certain amount of time, those people that do stage and plays, they have an audience all the time. So the audience will critique them, and each day, as you know, practice will make better. But when you already established the beautiful pieces that you want to put out, unless you have a couple or two on the side that just didn't fit at the time, that's what it is. With like you can't decide to leave a word out. Like if you make a mistake or leave a word out and just make up for it. You know, an actor would just make up for it if they forgot a part.
Yeah.
But your part would be, this is my vision. This is precise. This is what I want to show conclusively each and every day. This show is going to be fabulous. You know, just fabulous. And it's in your mind, and it's in your heart, and it's in your spirit. And people pick that up. And it's such a joy. You know what I mean? It's just, when you see a really good movie, it's just such a joy. A really good artist that really performs, such a joy. That everybody goes out with one or two particulars, but in the end, everybody loves it. The critics love it. It's like everybody loves it.
Not all the time. Sometimes I think a bad critique can actually be a good thing.
Yeah, well, that happens too.
It happens.
And so for the next show, this is what you decide, that maybe that was a little too strong, maybe that was a little too...
Myself, my best critics are my neighbors, like I said.
Right.
The kids in my building.
Yes.
You know, the kids in the neighborhood that hang out with the kids in the building.
Right.
The parents. You know, my family, basically, that I grew up with in this particular building that I live in. Okay. A lot of them were at my first show, and now they're all banging on my door. I better go to your show this time around. They're my best critics because it's truly coming from here. I guess, like, I'm not known yet. However,
you know.
I'm not really trying to make anybody. I'm not trying to please people.
No.
You know, I'm not like people.
You're giving them a craft, art.
A lot of people have asked me, "Will you do commissions?" And I'm not too sure if I would do commissions because I don't know if somebody's going to give me a picture of their baby and like, "Can you paint this?" And I'm like, probably not. You know, it's not. It's not what I want to do.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, can you redo this piece that I'm showcasing and make it bigger? That's, of course, yes.
Doable.
I could do something like that.
Yeah. Okay, Joey. Well, you see how amazing you are? We already went through our show session.
Isn't that something?
So this lets me know that we have to come back. Maybe we'll do some more, some actual stuff right there at the show.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
And we'll bring you back, and then we'll have a part 2.
Absolutely.
I think that will be great. But I can't thank you enough for explaining to the world out there how difficult it is and how the mind works of a great artist.
Yeah, well, I think we all go through a certain amount of difficulty, and I think the most important thing is persistence.
Yes.
And having a faith in yourself and faith in something other than yourself.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a pretty cool way.
Yeah,
of, you know,
absolutely. Namyo Renge Kyo. I gotta say it to that.
Namyo Renge Kyo.
Absolutely to that.
So I guess you guys know my faith.
Yeah, absolutely. Namyo Renge Kyo. And so we'll have something maybe get you back before the holidays too.
That'd be great.
Because the holidays is a perfect time to show art, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
And thank
having
you
me.
so much.
And thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Right.
See you soon.
Thanks for watching this episode of The Real Self-Talk of Sylvia Gina Hunt. And now check out a couple pictures and a small video from Joseph. Enjoy.